Welcome to our session on searching in Pubmed, which is part of our searching series offered by the NJM Health Sciences Library. My name is Malin Lay, and I'm a health sciences librarian and use Pubmed pretty much every single day. So for the webinar, just a reminder to mute your microphones, and if you have a question, to feel free to send it into the chat. So the session today is going to cover everything in the outline today. So a brief introduction to the rest of our searching series, talking about what Pubmed actually is, some recent changes to Pubmed that you might not be aware of, and then kind of diving into how to use Pubmed with some specific examples to work through. So the NJM Health Sciences Library is offering a whole series on how to search in different databases and for different topics throughout the month of October. So these are just some of them, and I would suggest checking some of the other ones out if you know you're going to be doing research or searching in some of the databases listed here. So in terms of objectives, by the end of the session today, participants will be able to use the new Pubmed interface to locate effectively locate resources, to describe the differences between kind of the old Pubmed and the new Pubmed and how to take advantage of those new features, and discuss how the changes in Pubmed's best match algorithm impact the results that you're seeing. So what is Pubmed? So Pubmed is a database of more than 30 million citations. It's a product of the National Library of Medicine down in the States, and it has 30 million citations in the fields of biomedicine and health, with a specific focus on collecting original scientific research. It's used by around 2.5 million users each day, and that includes clinicians, researchers, students, and other people from a variety of different areas who need authoritative health sciences research. And you can use it to find a specific research article based on known information, such as finding original research that prompted, say, a news story, or you can find articles written by a particular author. You can also use Pubmed to help familiarize yourself with a new topic, and because of its vast scope, you can also use it to really dive deeply into specific areas. So as we mentioned in the previous slide, Pubmed is a database of citations. It is not a database of full text articles. But about 2/3 of the articles in Pubmed include links that help you access the full text. And if you look at articles published in, say, the last 10 years, that number rises to about, say, 90% that have links to the full text. So not all of these are links necessarily to the free full text. Some link to a journal publisher. However, because you are affiliated with the U of M provides links to the full text access of a large majority of the content in Pubmed, which is one of the reasons you want to access Pubmed through the U of M library instead of just going through Google to it, is you will get the link to that free text, to that full text material. Also included in Pubmed is what's called Pubmed Central, which is manuscripts that have been deposited and are available for anyone to view at any time for free. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you kind of how to use Pubmed, but I want to introduce people to the new Pubmed a little bit. So the beta version of this new Pubmed launched in November 2019, and there was an extensive development process before it was launched. And so if you've used the old Pubmed interface, hopefully you'll find the new Pubmed to be just as effective, if not more so, but also a little bit easier to use. So it's got kind of an updated, cleaner look, and it has a easy to use interface. And the search engine has been modified to make it easier to find articles that best match your query. So again, if you're familiar with the way that the old Pubmed searched, you can hopefully search the same way you used to, but hopefully you'll get better results. And the new Pubmed still contains kind of the same underlying citation data, and it also runs in the cloud, which increases the long-term stability. So let's take a look at the new interface. So the most important thing is kind of the big search box in the middle, and that's mostly what you're going to be using PubMed for to do your searching. However, there's a few other things that you might want to be aware of. So if you scroll down on the main PubMed homepage, you will see some advanced or specialized features that are linked out. For example, there is the Learn link here, the Learn section, which includes FAQs and user guides. So if you want to do some more kind of advanced searching or need a refresher on basic searching, that's provided there. That also links you out to the PubMed user guide, which has a lot of kind of helpful documentation. And there's also a frequently asked questions right here, which walks you again through some of the common PubMed tasks. Some of them we won't be covering today, so it's just good to be aware of if you're going to be using PubMed a lot. And a little bit further down, if you keep scrolling, you'll see this trending articles section on the left. So just like kind of Twitter or other social media trending features, this section highlights articles that have had a recent uptick in user activity. So it sometimes showcases articles that aren't necessarily the newest, but have had a sudden increase in interest. So sometimes that can be because they've appeared in the news or they've gone viral in some other way. Some of the ones listed here were in the media yesterday because of the Nobel Prizes that were announced yesterday. And so those articles, which are kind of the underlying research, are being looked at by others. So, but for now, let's go back up to the top of the page where the search box is, so we can get kind of started searching and exploring in PubMed. Okay, so our goal today is to showcase some of kind of the most common tasks that people use PubMed for to accomplish. And we're going to start with kind of a very common use case, which is finding a specific article that you have heard about either in the news or some other place. So say you came across a news article like this one. So it's an article from NPR on treatment for asthma. So it's a research that shows that the common treatment for asthma may not be as effective as previously believed. And fortunately, this article has a convenient link back to the original research, but that's not always the case. And it sometimes can be really difficult to track back to the original research that the article is based on. But we do know a few things. So we know it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. It's a recent article, so it's probably from, say, 2019 or 2020. And sometimes, often just that little bit of information should be enough to help us find it easily within the new PubMed. So one of the key kind of design features of PubMed is sensors kind of built into the search box. So these sensors analyze your search query and they try to detect what it is you're actually looking for. So if we enter the information that we have, so we have the author's last name, Lazurus, and then the abbreviation for the New England Journal of Medicine, which is NEAJM, and the year 2019. And you could put in 2020 if you needed to as well. But again, since that article came out on NPR, it was in 2019. So the citation sensor should detect that we've provided some basic citation information and will help us find the article that we're looking for. And you can feel free to do this alongside, and I'm just mostly going to use slides, but feel free to follow along in PubMed so you can kind of actually see it happening. Okay, so here are the search results page. So as you can see, the citation sensor, it tried to find a citation that matched the information we put in the search box. So PubMed also does our search kind of normally as well and gives us an alternative set of results, just in case we weren't actually searching for a specific citation. So this can be really useful when you put in a topic term that is also the name of a journal. So say cancer or virology or science, those are topics, but they're also names of very prominent journals. So the citation sensor will probably suggest some articles from a journal, assuming that you were searching for a journal name. However, you can also get more search results below in case you're actually looking for articles, say, about cancer or virology or science in general. And we'll look at the rest of what the search results page looks like later on, but for now we'll click on the 3 results find by citation matching that you can kind of see up here to take a look at this citation in more detail. Okay, so this is the abstract page, which shows a lot more about the citation than the summary view on the results page. And we have our basic citation info here, including the journal, the issue, the page number, all up here at the top. And we also have tags that indicate what kind of article the citation is. And in this case, we're looking for a randomized control trial. And not every type of article has a tag on it, but it's meant to highlight some kind of commonly overlooked, commonly looked for types of publications, such as reviews or clinical trials. And below this, we have the title of the article, and then immediately to the right of the title is where you'll find links to the full text of the article. So you can see here, this check access one is the U of M link to the full text. So the citation has a link to the publisher's website as well, the NEJM. And if the article was available in full text for free in PubMed Central, there would be a link out to that as well. Okay, so below the title, you can kind of see all the author information listed here, which you might need to expand in order to see all the authors. Sometimes they just show, say, the top 3 or the top 6. And if you click on the expand button here as well, you can also get their affiliation, so where these researchers are based out of. Okay. And below the authors, you will see the PMID right here, which is a unique numeric identifier for the article that you can just search at any time. So as opposed to having to remember, say, the title or the authors, you can always just use that PMID to be taken back to this article. And further down, if you scroll, you'll get the full abstract text. Okay. So if you scroll down even further, you'll also see some additional information that is added by the NLM, the National Library of Medicine. Most of these are connections or links to other articles in PubMed or to information in other NLM databases. Similar articles, these ones right here, are generated using an algorithm based on other PubMed citations that are similar to the ones that you're looking for. You can also look at a list of articles within PubMed Central that cite the article that you are looking at. Again, another way to find relevant articles. And the list of references for the articles, if they're available, come from the publisher as well. So lots of additional helpful information located kind of near to the end of the page. So one of the most frequent tasks that users in PubMed do is searching for an author and trying to find all the publications by that author. So searching by authors can be tricky in PubMed, as in other databases, when multiple authors have the same name or when one author publishes under different variations of their own name. So there are a few techniques that you can use to help ensure that you're finding articles by the author you're looking for and not a different author with a similar name. So the most effective way to search for an author is to search for the author's last name and initials. And there's no need to tag or capitalize or punctuate, just the last name, then a space, then the initials. So in this example listed here, if we're looking for articles by Francis Collins, who is the director of the National Institute of Health, you would just search Collin and then FS. And we recommend that doing it this way instead of searching for the author's last name and the full name and the first names, because not all PubMed records include like the full written out first names. So searching with just a last name and initials is more inclusive, and you'll find kind of both sets of results. Okay, so here you can see we have typed in Collins FS just into the PubMed search box. Okay, and as you can see in the results, we have a number of articles by F.S. Collins. And in the summary view here, PubMed will try to highlight your terms where they appear, or they kind of are more actually bolding them. And in this case, Colin FS appears among the authors for a number of these results. And we don't know at this point for a fact that the Collins FS actually refers to our Francis S. Collins, or more specifically to the Francis S. Collins, who is the NIH director. So we need to go in and look at the individual records to really pull that information out. So the way to do this is we can click on one of the results and try and see if this is kind of the right Collins FS. So what I've done here is I've clicked on one of the results, a new initiative on precision medicine, and you'll see that it's written by a Francis S. Collins here. And then if you click on the affiliates expansion, you'll be able to see here where this author, or pardon me, where the researcher works out of, and you can see that this is in fact the Francis S. Collins that we were looking for. So you can then, you can then click on the name right here, Francis S. Collins, to get other articles written by that Francis S. Collins. And this author list uses, again, an algorithm, and it's based on patterns in authorship to identify other articles where an author with the same name is actually the same author. So it takes advantage of a number of different kind of features, one of them which is ORCID identifiers, which is a kind of initiative to be able to identify and link authors with their actual work. And it sorts out multiple authors with the same name. So ORCID identifiers are kind of not as well used as we would perhaps like. So they're on the small, but they're rapidly increasing. Authors can create their own ORCID ID and they submit it to a journal with their name. Publishers then send the ORCID along with the rest of the information to PubMed to include. And if you are an author, or you work with authors, or you expect to become an author in the future, you can always support ORCID and really encourage people to use ORCID when they are submitting publications. Okay, so to use that computed author sorting kind of algorithm, you pull up any PubMed citation in the abstract view, and then you click on the author's name right here. So PubMed will now search for authors, for articles with the same author name, and they'll cluster at the top these results that the algorithm has determined are most likely by that same author. So the results are displayed in this computed author sort order, meaning again that the articles most likely to be by the same Francis S. Collins are up at the top. So this explains why the article that we started from, a new initiative on precision medicine, is the top result. And as you can see, the algorithm has also found articles that are about Collins FS, but are also about just Collins F. So computed author helps you find articles by the same author, even if they aren't publishing under the exact same name. And I would just point out that the U of M library also subscribes to Scopus, which is even better at identifying specific authors and their works. So if you really are having trouble with the PubMed feature of this and really want to dive into, Scopus is a better option, and a librarian would be happy to walk you through kind of how to do that. Okay, so now let's click on the pubmed.gov logo at the top of the results here to get back to the home page. And we're going to change gears a little bit and focus on some subject searching. Okay, so another common use for PubMed is trying to search for articles on a specific topic. And so maybe it's a topic that you don't know that much about at this point and you're trying to familiarize yourself with it, or maybe you're doing kind of a deeper dive into a specific topic. So PubMed has features that, when put together, make it easy for you to just type what you're looking for in the search box and get back the results that you need. And one of the new priorities in PubMed is something called best match. So this is an idea that is kind of similar to other databases we might be familiar with, like Google, and how their search algorithm works, like the search engine. So basically, based on analytics and usage statistics, It's clear that most people, most users only look at the first few results of their search and rarely, if ever, kind of go past that first page. So one of the goals of PubMed is to make sure that the best, not necessarily the most recent, shows up right at the top. And on top of this, the PubMed search engine has been in development for many years to take kind of simple queries and translate them into more elaborate or comprehensive searches. And the goal is that you can kind of just type in what you're looking for, and PubMed will ensure that you get what you need. So additionally, PubMed has tools that are specifically designed to let you do kind of very broad searches and then further refine your search to focus on just the results that you need. So with all of that going on kind of in the background, we're just going to type our topic into the search box and select search. So we're going to search for acid reflux, and I'm not going to worry about punctuation, capitalization, or even Boolean operators, which are those like and or. I don't even need to know the proper scientific name for acid reflux. Just put it in and then click search. Okay, so that basic search just gave us a whole bunch of search results. Because we have a good number of results, you can see that number listed up here, we can take this opportunity to take a longer look at some of the features on the search results page. So in the center of the page, we have our list of results right here, and which includes some kind of key information about each article. So again, the article title and the citation information are displayed, as well as the PMID, and the article tags, as we saw before, for randomized control trial and reviews are also displayed when applicable. And a portion of the abstract is shown as well. There are some words here that are highlighted even though we didn't search for them. And so we'll get into why that is in just a moment. Okay, so each result also has a cite button, which lets you grab a properly formatted citation in the citation format of your choice. And then you can then copy and paste it, or you can download it to be imported into a citation management software. And in their list, pull down list right here, one of the citation styles is AMA, which is the American Medical Association style, and that is pretty rare to show up in a citation format. So it's definitely a feature to take advantage of if you need citations. Okay. So if you want to save multiple citations to your computer, you can use the Save button at the top of the page. So basically, you mark the citations you want using these checkboxes next to them, and then you can download those citations kind of in a variety of formats. You can also opt to download the entire set of results, although this can sometimes result in very large sets of results or some very large files. Okay. And rather than downloading them, you can also email them as well, either to yourself or someone else using the email button at the top of the page. Another feature you might be interested in is the Create Alert. So you can save a search that you've done in PubMed, and PubMed will automatically email you anytime there are new results for that search query as they become available. So in order to create an alert, you do need to have a free My NCBI account in order to set up alerts. If you don't have an My NCBI account, we do encourage you to get one. And in addition to allowing you to create alerts, it also gives you access to additional customization options and lets you save collections of citations to share with others. Oh, and sorry, and that button is just right up here in the top right-hand corner. Okay, so earlier I had talked about other ways to refine your search. So we're going to use the filters on the left-hand side to do that refining. So at the top of this kind of left-hand column of information is the results by year graph. So this provides kind of a nice way to visualize trends in research, as you can see when publications on a particular topic either increase or decrease over time. And to make the results graph a little bit bigger, you can expand the graph by clicking the expand icon, which is that little square with the two outward facing arrows. And you can also use the graph to filter your results based on publication date by dragging these handles on either side of the graph inward. Okay, so below the results by year filter, we also have the text availability filter. By selecting one of these checkboxes, you can restrict your search results to only articles with links to full text or even to free full text. However, this does not account for library subscriptions, which you have as a member of the U of M community. So basically, if you have library access, which you do right now, this filter doesn't help much and will actually you will lose out on relevant results by using it. Instead, leave those text availability boxes unchecked and use the check access button, which is embedded on the U of M link for every Pubmed article. And that's kind of the best way to do that. I would say until you either leave the U of M and are not affiliated with an institution, to not use these filters at all. Once you graduate or once you leave the U of M, and if you don't have an affiliation and don't have access to full text, then I would take advantage of those. Okay, so you can also use the article type filter to restrict your results to only specific types, to only articles of a specific type. So for example, if you're looking to familiarize yourself on a topic, you can restrict to just reviews by clicking the review checkbox. And you can then see that all of the citations that appear have the review tag. And just to point out that there are systematic review and randomized control trial filters as well. Okay, and finally, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the button there for additional filters. So if you don't see the article type that you're looking for already listed on the left-hand side, you can add it to kind of those most commonly used article types. So once you have selected the additional filters that you might want to use, they will then become available for you to use in that left-hand kind of sidebar area. And there have been, with the new interface, there have been some changes to Pubmed overall. They have deleted some categories that you might have been familiar with before, but overall there hasn't been kind of a substantive amount of change. And there's another feature I want to show you, which is the advanced search page. So you can find the advanced search builder using the advanced button right here underneath the search box on the home page or on any other Pubmed page. So the advanced search here allows you to search for specific fields and to build more complex searches. Most of the time you probably shouldn't need to use it, but it is available just in case. And one way is you can use the advanced search here to find articles from a specific journal, even if you're not sure of the journal's exact name. So what you do is you use the field selector here to select journal, and then you start typing the name of the journal. And what will happen is the auto suggest feature is going to suggest journal names that exist in the database, and you can choose the one that you want. For example, if you're trying to find the New England Journal of Medicine, just select journal from the drop-down list right here, and then start typing it, and you'll see it appear with the proper name, even though we put in just the word new here. The New England Journal of Medicine will appear, and then you can add it to your search by clicking add, and then run that search by clicking search. And so while the advanced search can be very useful, the really important thing on this page is the history and search results section down at the bottom. And this keeps track of what searches you've run and lets you jump back to the results for any of those searches. Most important though is the details tab here, which makes your searching a little bit more transparent. So the search detail shows you how Pubmed is interpreting your search using what's called automated term mapping. For example, when we just typed in acid reflux, you can see that Pubmed is actually searching all of these terms here And what that means is that even if you don't know that the medical term for acid reflux is actually gastroesophageal reflux, PubMed knows that that's what you're looking for and is going to search for any citations with that term. And finally, PubMed searches for the original search string we entered, which is just simply acid reflux. So this is why on that original search results page in the abstract snippets, we saw acid reflux, but we also saw gastroesophageal reflux bolded. And in those snippets, our search terms do appear in bold. So the search term includes all of those thanks to kind of this automated term mapping going on in the background. Okay, a few other things to know about PubMed that are still housed kind of on the old legacy site. So in case you have ever used any of these features, which include the medical subject headings database, the single citation matcher, My NCBI and clinical queries, is it will flip back and forth between those two interfaces. So you might kind of see the new kind of cleaner interface and then the older kind of gray, which is interface, which is slightly more cramped, but the two interfaces do work together and still communicate with one another. And I think they will be transitioning those over to the new interface. It just kind of hasn't happened yet. So kind of in summary, our advice when using PubMed is to use kind of basic keyword searches, to watch your search details and edit as needed. So if you're finding things that kind of don't make sense, go and look at that advanced page and look at the search detail and kind of edit as needed. You can also use the database Ovid Medline. It has a different interface and it is better designed for complex searches. So if you're working on a big review, like a systematic review or a scoping review, I would recommend Ovid Medline over PubMed. And you should likely expect some higher result numbers. So check out, because again, just of the way that they're searching, so make sure to use those filters to narrow it down. And do take advantage of some of the new features. So the citing button, it is much more mobile friendly, looking at those cited by lists and looking at the reference lists that are embedded in the record. There have been, over the last couple of months, some problems identified with PubMed and this new interface, specifically some things around, say, capitalization or using what are called wildcard or truncation, but it is expected that PubMed is working on kind of ironing out those issues and hopefully they will be resolved soon. And I will point out that if you want to see the legacy PubMed site, it is still available. It's linked out on the main PubMed homepage. I believe they're keeping it up until November, but if you just can't let it go and want to keep using it, it is still available there. And on the PubMed homepage, they are still collecting feedback for reporting errors or just providing general feedback on how you've been using it at the bottom right of the PubMed homepage. So go ahead and use that if you're having any issues at all or want to make some suggestions to PubMed on how they can improve. And like I've already said, PubMed has been designed to meet most of your needs using it just the way that I've shown today. And that's how the new version of PubMed was designed. However, for kind of certain specialized research, you might need a little bit more help. So I've linked out here to that FAQ and user guide. I pointed this out, it is on the homepage of PubMed as well. It's very comprehensive and should answer any questions that you might have. If you find this guide overwhelming, you should ask one of your librarians. So health sciences librarians, we are expert PubMed searchers. We spend a lot of time and hopefully we can help you figure out what you need and kind of how to improve your searches and use PubMed more effectively if you kind of have questions that aren't answered from this session today. And I've linked out to a page here for how to ask a health librarian, but really you can just go to our homepage on the U of M page and just click, find your subject librarian, or you can ask any health librarian if you have questions about PubMed. Okay, so I'm going to pause for questions and then also just wrap up this webinar. If you have any questions, afterwards and want to email me, again, my contact information was listed at the beginning of the slides, but my name is Malin Lay, and you can ask any questions there if you need help. So thank you.